my name's Cliff. I'm from here in East County, San Diego. During the day, I do welding and machining for a medical company, making surgical equipment and tools for doctors, basically. This is a bike I got a few years back out of a storage unit, and then me and my dad and my brother, with a little bit of talking with my grandpa, started it. Yeah, 79 shovel that I started piecing together in my garage, and front end that I made myself, and sissy bar and everything we did in-house. And the frame we did, and we cut it, de-raked it. I replaced the top tube, and then we made it so the exhaust goes down in there and it comes out the bottom here and out of the bottom of the seat tube. And part of the time I was kind of waiting to see if I got in, because if I didn't get in, I wasn't going to do the exhaust, because that's not smart. It's not going to last very long like that. But I didn't want it to be a typical show bike, because I'm going to be riding it, I'm going to be crashing on it, I'm going to be ripping around on it, so I didn't want perfect paint, I didn't want perfect chrome, so it just kind of fell together the way it is. Some of my favorite stuff, I don't know if it's my favorite because it was a lot of work and it was frustrating as hell. It's kind of my least favorite at the same time. Like the pipes, it's kind of my favorite because there's a lot of people that said it wouldn't work at all. So I was really stoked when it started up and actually worked. But the exhaust that goes down into here, it comes around, and the front pipes exit on each side right here, and the rear pipe goes into the seat tube and it comes straight out the bottom. The floorboards I machined and welded on there on each side, and the springer I came up with. I like this springer, but I like the look of the rigid. So it actually pulls a chain inside and has a spring that compresses inside. It's kind of like half a Harmon, but chain driven with a sprocket on there. And the headlight up on the sissy bar and the one-handed bar. I think with those things, those are like 4 or 5 things I'd never seen before on a bike. So I think those are probably my favorite details on there. One of the biggest struggle was just time frame. I mean, 6 months ago, this frame was in 2 pieces, had no top tube. I ended up cutting it, tacking it with James a while back, and then I cut it out again, and then trying to get the exhaust to flow into the frame and be able to detach it so I can still pull the motor in and out. Because I was just going to weld it straight, but then I'd never be able to take the motor out. That and some of the engineering on the fork and machining some of the parts for that, trying to manual machine all that. That was pretty challenging. And yeah, just getting everything done in time was really hard, because I mean, this thing literally didn't move on its own until yesterday. Yeah, I've always been terrible at wiring, and my buddy Aaron came over and did most of the wiring, but I sat there with him while he was doing it, and to the point where I got frustrated and walked away. But then that little bit I did learn until I got frustrated. There was a learning point. I'd walk away, get a beer, come back. I go, all right, let's try this again. I actually smoked an ignition, a tail light, because I hooked it up wrong, and then he came over, he's like, no, you fucked all this up, and we redid it. But did most of the stuff in-house, but, or actually all of it. But I think the only thing I didn't know was wiring, yeah. It rides awful. It is sloppy, it is wobbly. The one handlebar is just as dumb as you'd expect, but the motor runs good. And other than that, like the front end's floppy and the handlebars are stupid, but everything else is pretty solid. A lot of people. This is honestly a huge undergoing, and I would not have been able to do it with all the buddies that are here today, my wife, my kids. Like literally my kids were out here working on it. Like my daughter yesterday was welding up the sissy bar while I was working on stuff. And my son's out here filling tires up, checking stuff, tightening bolts. And he's sitting in the garage like, oh, hand me a Phillips, hand me this, and he'll run and get tools. My wife's in there every night, and if she's not in the garage, as soon as I get home from work, I sit down on the couch. Shouldn't you go work on your bike? Yeah, you're right. I get up, she goes, come on, let's go. I got beer, come on, let's go out and work in the garage. And like pushing me the whole time. And then every one of these buddies that's here, Aaron and Tommy, mostly just every day been over here, and they bring me parts. Like like this is Aaron's carb. Tommy came over and did the trans while I was at work yesterday or Thursday. He goes, well, what time do you get off? I tell him, he goes, I'll be over there at noon. I'm gonna fix the trans, get the clutch working before you get off work. Like it was a huge group effort. Every one of my buddies pitched in on this. It's been huge.